What's up, everybody? Gonna make a video here. Hopefully everybody's doing well today. And today we're gonna talk about off-road trucks. I'm a little sick right now, so hopefully I don't sound too funny. But what I'm going to talk about is kind of my top 5 things on how to start modifying your truck. So if you've started to look around online or in catalogs or whatnot for off-road parts, you'll see that there are plenty of options out there on things to do to make your truck more off-road worthy. And it can kind of be a little intimidating on where to start. So to kick it off, we're going to start with the first one. And I think your number one thing to modify is going to be upgrade your tires for off-road use. Typically, SUVs, especially ones today, do not come with any tires that are off-road worthy by any means. They're strictly street tires. They're meant for good fuel economy, not traction off-road. The real purpose of upgrading your tires for a more off-road focused tread pattern isn't necessarily just for the knobbies, the tread, but also they typically have a thicker sidewall and sidewall tread as well, not just tread around the normal spot of the tire. And that benefits you in two ways. And that, for one, thicker sidewall allows you to air down the tire. You're definitely not going to be running anywhere near street pressure in the trail. And also it gives you a little puncture resistance, especially if you're going to be driving any terrain with any roots or rocks or anything like that. And then it also of course gives you that off-road traction. And they're typically a little softer compound, and they're going to really want to conform to the ground when they're aired down. So even if it's not a super aggressive off-road tire, they still make plenty capable all-terrain tires. I've been using the Goodyear DuraTrack, and it's been doing me just fine in rocky terrain and snowy terrain and even a little bit of sand use. But also there's definitely other options out there, like the BF Goodrich all-terrain and the Nitto Terra Grappler is also a great option. But of course, the mud terrain tires, if that's where you're going to be driving, if you're going to be in the more rocky mud terrain type, then mud terrains definitely have a much softer compound and they'll definitely hook up well. So number 2 is going to be something that I kind of regret not doing to my truck right away, but that is armor. So what I mean by that is going to be primarily sliders. That's definitely where I would start, is with a hefty set of weld-on sliders, bolt-on if you have to, but I would definitely recommend weld-on, and then front bumper, rear bumper, and skid plates. The reason for that is as your skill level grows, the type of trails that you're going to be driving on are also going to become more difficult. And you're going to want the armor to happen before your skill level gets there. You want the truck to be protected, because not only is it going to survive in the trails as you get into more difficult trails, but you're going to be making probably some poor line choices in the beginning, and you might end up kind of dashing in a spot that you not necessarily want to, either sliding off a rock or anything like that. You want to be protected. So number 3 on the list is going to be locking differentials. It's going to be kind of a big step in the build of your truck, as they are typically pretty expensive if you go for a disconnecting locker, which means that it can work in a fully unlocked state or can be locked either by pneumatic air pressure or electronic control. But they do make other types of lockers. They make anything from the simplest method, which is simply just weld your gears, which I would not recommend if you are planning on driving the truck on the street at all. But they do make another type of locker, which is a step above that, which would be called a lunchbox locker. It's kind of a ratcheting effect. It's always locked when going in a straight line, but if you do make turns, it does allow that inside tire a little bit of give to prevent it from being fully locked at all times. And while it may seem like a big expense really early on while you into your off-road experience, there's not going to be a single modification that you'll be able to do to your truck that will increase its capability more than locking differentials. So number 4 and 5, they're kind of modifications that may be overlooked and may not even be considered something that people would do right away. Number 4 should be a brake upgrade. Again, brakes that typically come stock from the factory on most vehicles aren't necessarily made for off-road use. And it may not seem like it, but on the trail you're going to be generating a good amount of heat in your brake pads and rotors. You don't necessarily have to upgrade your rotors. A blank face rotor will do just fine as any type of slot or dimple or drilled rotors. You're not really going to be getting the effects of them, as the rotors are going to be spinning so slow that you're not really going to be getting any benefit from the gas escape that you would want through those slots. The brake pads are going to be going from extremes of temperatures, and you're going on a pad that's not going to break down. And the final modification, number 5. Typically you're going to be carrying weight in your truck depending on what kind of off-road type trips you're going on, whether it's just a single day, if it's going to be multiple day camping trip, anything like that. You're going to be carrying extra weight in the truck. And while the truck is going to be rated for that kind of weight, it's not going to be necessarily rated for that kind of weight when bouncing over rocks or going fast over in the desert over rough terrain. It's going to be just another thing, just like the brakes, heat buildup. And when there's heat buildup, there's going to be breakdown in stock components. So you don't necessarily have to go with a lift kit right away. A simple shock upgrade will go a long way in your truck build. So this list may be missing something that you would expect, and that would be a lift and larger tires. I did mention the tires, but not necessarily larger. The reason I made this video is kind of because when I started building my truck, I went straight for lift and bigger tires, as I thought that would be the ultimate thing to get this truck off-road. But now, after doing it and being in the trail, I found that that wasn't necessarily the best thing. And then once you start with these modifications, you'll be able to build the rig up more and more. And these are things that really aren't going to have to ever go away. The armor, you're always going to need that. Locking differentials, you're always going to use that. So they'll be there when you need them down the road, when you start hitting those more advanced trails. So hopefully that helps some of you in building your truck, gave you some ideas, some guidance, if you were a little overwhelmed by all the things offered in the market. If so, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree, disagree with any of my modifications that I recommend. And if you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all the more videos to come. So I'll see you next time.